Joining us now to discuss is Lauren Leader. She's the co-founder and CEO of the nonpartisan women's organization, All In Together. Great to have you here, Lauren. Thanks so much for joining us. What do you feel like is the driving factor in making this year the year that history is actually going to be made?
Well, I think it's a culmination of the last 30 to 40 years of women really breaking barriers and succeeding in really every level of American society. You know, we've seen this incredible increase in the number of women getting college degrees. Women are now 60% of the college degrees. Women have entered the workforce and have climbed the ladder in virtually every sphere. But the political realm is the one place where women have really hugely lagged. The United States is now, wait for it, 98th in the world for women's political equality. 98th in the world. So it's long past the time, and I think a lot of women are finally standing up and saying, if we really want the equity that we seek, we have to have that equity in all the spheres of power, and politics is one of them.
All right, clearly it would move us up in the rankings globally. What does it mean for Americans, for us, if we see more women in leadership?
Well, look, we're 51% of the population, and the essence of democracy is that it's meant to be representative. We are supposed to have people in elected office and in government who understand our issues and who represent us. And I think most American women would say that they don't feel government has represented us. There's a whole range of issues that women care about, and as diverse as we are, we have very diverse interests. There are a whole range of issues around women's economic security, around workplace equity, around pay equity that haven't advanced, and they really haven't advanced because we haven't had enough women in positions of power working on those issues for us. So it's a game changer. We know that in places around the world that have more women in political office, that those countries succeed financially, women do better. There's a real correlation between women in power and better outcomes for everyone in society.
We know from the 2016 presidential election, Hillary Clinton was labeled inauthentic. She was labeled
everything you can think of.
Everything you could basically on the planet. Do you feel like a lot of those taglines that people bestowed on Hillary Clinton are going to be things we're going to see in the 2020 campaign? Where it's, inauthentic, not likable, all of those things.
Look, we're already seeing some of it. We saw it on Elizabeth Warren the second she declared her candidacy. We've already seen birtherism against Kamala Harris. It's going to be ugly. There is still a ton of sexism and racism in this country. There's no question about it. But I do think that there's power in numbers. And one of the reasons why Hillary was such a lightning rod was because she was the only one.
Right.
And I think it does change to have 4 women running. I think we're going to see them defending each other. I also think it's worth noting we've had a massive sea change in the media over the last year. Keep in mind, Me Too was after the 2016 election. So we have a lot more women, anchors, women in media in positions of power and influence, and I think they're going to be questioning the narrative and are going to push for more equal coverage. I hope they do, because I think every woman in America watches this coverage and can relate to the double standards that women in public office face.
Do you think women's voices are heard?
No, not nearly enough. I mean, I think there's no question that women's voices are underrepresented in government, in business, and everywhere else. But that's changing. And the more that women see role models in positions of leadership, see women willing to step up and fight on behalf of themselves and others, I do think it inspires more women. Role models matter.
Why are women disproportionately impacted when they don't understand politics or even engage in any of this?
So it's super interesting. So there is a civics crisis in the United States. 70% of Americans cannot name a single person who represents them in elected office. Okay, we don't understand how government works. There's a whole civics crisis. But the big difference with women is that, weirdly, we want to feel qualified and well-informed in order to participate in the process. And so actually what we do at All In Together is we run education programs all over America to teach women about how government works, to give them the tools and the resources to speak up, because we actually feel like we need that in order to participate. And so that civics gap has disproportionately kept women on the sidelines.
So what are the tools that women need then to feel like they are more engaged?
Well, I think a lot of women don't realize that their life is expertise, that our experience as mothers, as professionals, as women actually qualifies us to know about really important issues that affect our lives, and that those issues are things we should be sharing with our elected officials. We have the right to petition our grievances. We should be writing letters to our representatives. We should be calling their offices. We should be getting to know our local electeds. It's remarkably easy. And I think most women think the only options are you vote or you run for office. And there's so much more that we should all be doing.
How do you feel like large companies can actually drive innovation when it comes to diversity?
You know, I'm so glad you asked this. Look, I think I'm actually incredibly optimistic about what's happening in America because of what's happening in corporate America. You know, companies like JP Chase, who I know sponsors this, but also so many other institutions are investing vast resources in helping to advance women and people of color, to get their employees to understand better why that matters. There is a long way to go and a ton of work to be done, but some of the best conversations and sort of most focused effort in the country today is happening in corporate America.
Absolutely. Lauren Leader, she's the co-founder and CEO of All In Together. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.